And we are following some breaking news out of the Middle East right now as the Israel War Room reporting that another 5 people have been confirmed dead after Hezbollah rocket fire at northern Israel. Now, as you can see in that post here coming in from the Israel War Room, that is going on in Metula, again in the northern part of Israel, and they say 4 of them were foreign workers. Do want to take you out to this live image that we do have right now. This is over Khan Yunis, a shot that you have seen quite a bit over the last year. Now, multiple media outlets, including CNN and others, are reporting via senior U.S. sources that Iranian officials have declared they will deliver a, quote, definitive and painful response to Israel's weekend strikes. Now, as you know, those strikes that went on for hours were retaliation for the 180 ballistic missiles that were fired at Israel by Iran earlier on in the month. A lot to discuss here, so I do want to bring in a true expert. We have Dr. Sina Azodi, a visiting scholar and adjunct professor of international affairs at the George Washington University. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Good to be with you, Josh.
All right, so first off, I do want to ask you about this report from multiple media outlets saying that, Iran has said that it will retaliate in a big way against Israel. What do you make of all of that? Is that a reality?
There's a possibility. I think that in Tehran, they are thinking that how the response should be, or there should be a response at all. Because in the attacks that the Israelis conducted on Iranian air defenses, my understanding and the analysis that are out there, they indicate that the Israelis have taken out most of Iran's air defenses. So if Iran decides to respond, the response that will come from the Israelis could potentially harm Iran's nuclear infrastructure, energy sector. And so they actually have to sit down and seriously think whether they want to risk further escalation with the Israelis.
And that begs the question, because we do know that we've kind of seen things play out over the past several weeks, several months, and we also know that there was no attack by Israel on the nuclear sites, the oil sites there in Iran, but it sounds like that could potentially happen in the future if there is kind of a back and forth that goes on. So what sort of impact could that potentially have for Iran if the nuclear and oil sites are attacked? Do we really know?
Well, let me just say it first on the nuclear facilities. Israelis cannot destroy Iran's nuclear program. They don't have the military equipment. Only the United States has it. And plus, we have to keep in mind that Iranians can at any time rebuild the nuclear infrastructure. The centrifuges that have been destroyed, Iran has the capacity to rebuild them. The problem is, if Israelis go after the nuclear program, it would give Iran every incentive to restart the weaponization program that they stopped in 2003. So that is why I think the United States urged the Israelis not to go after the nuclear program. Now, in terms of energy, I think in the short term, it will create some difficulty for Iranians, but there are also regional consequences. Iranians could potentially close the Strait of Hormuz. They could attack, as they did in 2018 and 2019, they could start attacking oil tankers in the Persian Gulf. So they could create a lot of trouble in the region. And that could drag the United States back to the region. And this is something that we've been trying to avoid for years now.
One thing that I also try to clarify constantly is that there is a difference between the Iranian regime, those high-ranking officials, and the people in Iran, right?
Yes, absolutely. But in the last Israeli attack that some of Iran's air defenses were destroyed, some of the NCOs and officers of the Iranian conventional military were killed in action. And I think we have to keep in mind that the conventional army is liked by the Iranian people, unlike the IRGC, which has been involved in cracking down the suppression and torture of the Iranian people. So we do have to distinguish between the two.
We've also heard from Lebanon's prime minister saying that he does remain hopeful for a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah in, quote, hours or days. Is that even possible right now with the ongoing war there in Gaza? Because we've heard from Hezbollah over the months. They've said they will not stop firing rockets there at northern Israel and other spots until the war in Gaza is over. So is a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah even possible?
I think it is possible. I think that on the Hezbollah side, we have to keep in mind that their leadership has been decapitated by the Israelis. Their military potential has been weakened by many attacks that the Israelis have conducted, and so there is an incentive in Hezbollah to reach a ceasefire. On the Israeli side, we also have to keep in mind that meaning the United States, we have the power and the leverage over the Israelis to push them for a potential ceasefire. I think that at this point, disengagement agreements, short-term disengagement agreements, I think are the best and most feasible options. And all of these together could create an environment for a potential ceasefire.
You brought up a good point there, and I've talked to a lot of experts about this, and everyone kind of has a differing opinion, so I wanted to get yours as well. The U.S., what sort of pull do they really have over Israel? Does Netanyahu make his decisions based on what Biden has to say?
Generally, I would say yes, because we provide the most amount of military aid, financial aid, aid packages, everything. But I also think that he understands that in the election cycle, we're only a week from the elections. He understands that Biden's options are limited. So I think for his own interest, for his party's interest, I think he's taking advantage of the situation. Now, any president that comes to the White House in January, and I hope that by that time the war is over, but they will have a lot more leverage over the Israelis to ask them to potentially reach a ceasefire, because the next president doesn't have to be concerned about the shortcoming elections. The upcoming election, excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, and my last question for you here, we did see a drone that was launched the other day from Iraq over at Israel, and it did explode over in the Golan Heights. Do we see a lot of activity coming from Iraq in relation to this whole situation?
Well, I think the Iraqis are in a very difficult position now. Because one, they have to maintain their friendly relations and good neighborly relations with Tehran. As one Iraqi official said, Iran is not going anywhere. They're going to be our neighbors. At the same time, they do need the United States security support for Iraq. But unfortunately for Iraqis, they have become a battleground between Iran, the United States, and the Israelis. There are many reports that suggest that the Israeli planes that attacked Iran on Saturday, they had breached the Iraqi airspace, and that's where they launched their missiles from. Now, Iraqis have taken their complaint to the Security Council. I don't know if it goes anywhere. But the point I'm trying to make is that Iraq is in a very difficult position right now.
All right. Dr. Sina Azodi, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here and help break down all the latest details. Anything else that you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
Yeah, I would just emphasize one point. Look, you can go after Hezbollah or Hamas leaders. You can decapitate the leadership. But history teaches us that unless you provide them with a better alternative, a better future, you cannot kill an ideology. The ideology of Hamas cannot be destroyed unless there is a better ideology. And that, I think, falls on the United States and the Israelis to show the Palestinian people that they can have a better future, something that is different from Hamas's ideology.
All right. Dr. Azodi, thank you again for taking the time to join us and break down a variety of topics. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you.